Okay, we are live now, and we finally all got here, which is brilliant. So
Thank you.
we're all a group of headless friends here, and from around the world, and I am going to invite each person to introduce themselves a little bit, and then we'll see what happens. So I'm Richard, I'm in London, and it's just brilliant to be hanging out with my friends and seeing what happens. So, who shall we have start? What about Colin and Carol?
Hello. Hello. I'm Carol, and I've been married to Colin for 45 years, and we are in Clare, Suffolk, in England. And I first came to seeing about 46 years ago, having no prior interest whatsoever in spiritual matters, no yoga, no nothing.
Brilliant. Thank you, Carol. And Colin?
Okay. When I was a teenager, I went to the Buddhist summer school in England, and there I first met Douglas, who intrigued me, and I wrote to him after the summer school, and he invited me to his home. And I haven't looked back from the day that I spent with him when he reintroduced me to who I am. It's something that I felt immediately at home with. I recognized as something that I was looking for, and it was just myself. And I had lost it because I had overlooked it and lost it as a youngster from my childhood. I'd lost it and become shrunken, and I felt so constricted, and at times I felt as if, pardon? Oh, Carol says this is too many sentences.
No, it's beautiful.
Well, I was just saying how constricted I felt, and
yes.
And sometimes I felt that I needed to inquire into my own sense of honesty about myself, and that's just what I did. And with Douglas, I had a wonderful day, and that was the beginning of a friendship with Douglas, deep love for the man, and it was also the beginning of the most exciting thing in my life, and meeting so many friends. And here you are. And I think the story of seeing, isn't it, is one that's historical. You could say when you first came to it, but actually you first come to it right here, right now. This is it. As fresh as a daisy.
Yes.
So that's it.
Lovely.
Okay,
thank you, Colin. Yes. Sebastiano.
Yes, goodbye. Good day, everybody. This is Sebastiano. I'm originally from Milan, Italy. Today I live in Martinique, in the Caribbean, and I came across headlessness just about 2.5 years ago. My only spiritual experience before that was a long time ago in the 80s, when I was part of a cult in India. You remember the guru with the 93 Rolls Royce? And that didn't help much. In fact, I was thoroughly disgusted, and I went into commercial life where I made a lot of money, and I lost a lot of money, and I got very depressed. And I came across headlessness in a moment in my life where I was pretty much suicidal and prey of drug addiction and all these things. All that changed from there to there with headlessness. I always repeat it to anybody I can, and it's like I have become whole in a way. I was only half before, now I'm whole, and this is the difference it made in my life. And since then, I've been eternally grateful to Douglas Hardney, whom I never met. The only contact I have with Hardney, his work, and headlessness is through the computer and through the internet. I'm very far away from everywhere, and this is marvelous. Thank you for the internet too. Okay.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, Sebastiano. Thank you. Susita?
Hi everyone, I'm from Bangalore, India. Last year I was reading a book on consciousness, and the author had met Douglas, and he mentioned one of his experiments, and I found it very effective, and immediately I went to the Headless website and tried many of the experiments. And for me, it made a big difference because everything that I had been reading, which I knew deep inside was true, was still very difficult to kind of integrate on a day-to-day basis. So with the experiments, I could really kind of recognize the truth in my day-to-day life, and I felt that I could really recognize who I was. It deepened my understanding, which some of them I just knew theoretically because of reading. I think I could kind of really recognize it, and it's been a big gift for me.
Thank you, Susita. Thank you. Bill? Need to turn the mic on there?
Yes. Okay. I'm half of Jose and Bill today. So this half is French, and this half is British, and we are now in Paris. And both of us have been friends, but not friends with that thing. We met through Douglas's work. We both love to share. We just did a little workshop yesterday evening, and Jose does a tremendous amount of work in France, and I love to hang out with him and you guys because it's always fresh, always new, and it's just a pleasure. It's great. So that's me, and this is my other half.
Yes, hello. So we are in Paris. I'm very happy to be here with you. I met Douglas 20 years ago. He came in Paris for a workshop with Catherine in a little bookshop, and I found this way so simple, so direct, that it became my way. I mean, it's so obvious. So now I like to share with friends this direct way and simple seeing, naked, simple seeing. So I'm very happy to be here with you, friends.
Thank you, Jose. Catherine.
I'll just sum up my story. I was in Paris and interested in spiritual ways, but not absolutely obsessed by it. And a friend practically dragged me to this workshop by Douglas. We went to Paris and had a weekend workshop. And I didn't want to go, but I was dragged, as I said. And the minute I heard Douglas and I saw him and I practiced the experiments with him, that was it for me. My life changed. Changed so much that not only falling in love with the message, I fell in love with the man. And I followed him. And 1 year, a few months later, I was with him, living with him. I decided to leave everything behind me, and I went there. And every morning when I wake up, I am grateful for that. I think of what would be life without him. And what a grace, what a privilege to have met him and been able to live with him for such a long time. And now I realize more and more how lucky I was, because for 20 years I literally bathed in seeing with Douglas and all the time and all this. Now I am left alone in a small English city, not small, they boast to become a big city, French city. And I experience the situation when you are the only seer around and you can't share this with anyone because they are not interested. They're just not interested. And I see how more difficult it is to keep seeing in these circumstances. And this makes me even more admirative for Douglas, because I think that's what he lived for about 14 years, or 15 years before he could find someone who said, yes, yes, Douglas, I see what you mean. And before that, he was left alone and considered as a crazy man. And
Yes.
must have been there. I can't see how, I don't see how he stood it so long. He was marvelous. He really was a marvelous guy. Apart from being a genius finding this way, he was a marvelous guy. Full of determination. And right now, I am in a situation of having become an old lady, lots of physical problems also, and well, I can see that seeing is the only remedy to any situation. It can be physical pain or mental pain or any kind of situation which makes you suffer. The only way out and the only remedy is turning back and going really to the center, the zero, the point zero. And there, everything, I've turned my folder. Everything opens up and you come out in the wide ocean of brilliant light of consciousness. And then you see, I see, or rather, I know I have a disease which is the disease of growing old with all the pains, but also I know and I see I am not the disease. I have this disease and the problem of getting old, but I am not this. And I am only the container. And what is the container, which is what I am, is free of all this. I can see this guy called Catherine, this is not what I am. And the one inside. And it becomes more and more obvious. The more our appearance, our little person gets old and everything is a problem, the more you see you are not that. It's impossible, you're not that. You are what creates all this. You are this light inside. If you close your eyes, you see there is this vibrating presence here. I can see it as almost a flame lit up. And then when you open your eyes, you create the world. And you see you're not the world, you see the world is out there. But you are what creates and animates everything. And this is wonderful, really.
Yes.
Gives you such freedom.
Thank you, Catherine. Thank you.
This is what I'm doing.
Yes. Okay, I'm going to ask Ben to just introduce yourself, Ben.
Yes, hi, I'm Ben from Tampa, Florida, and I discovered Douglas Harding's work on a recommendation of a friend of mine, and looked into it and did the first pointing exercise, and immediately there was a reaction, and then I began to become more and more curious about the validity of what I was experiencing. And I had taken sort of a scientific approach to the whole thing and wanted to really make sure this was something, it wasn't just an experience. And I can tell you about a year and a half later, after doing the first experiments, it's always there, the understanding, what we would call it, an epiphany, whatever it is. It's not an epiphany, it doesn't disappear, it's always there, and you can always go back and rest in there. And it's wonderful to hear Catherine talk about it from seeing for so long, and also the experience of it. And I think what I found just listening to her is I could relate to a lot of what was said, and it's true almost of anyone who has had the experience. And I want to stress the experience of it and how remarkable it is that Douglas Harding was able to take his own personal experience of this and turn it into tactile experiments that give you the experience of what people would call enlightenment or awakening, whatever it is, but it's a purely experiential experience, and to me that is remarkable, and I'm always grateful for having been exposed to the Headless work, and deeply appreciative for it.
Thank you, Ben. Lovely. So I have no particular agenda today. I mean, I can think of interesting things to talk about, but we can just, to begin with at least, just see where we go. I mean, it's great just to have us all together in this one openness, and with different experiences of living from this open space. Any thoughts that come to mind? Are you thinking of something? Oh, Sebastiano.
I have an idea. I would like to, since Ben just talked about it, what really changed my life, the way that headlessness changed my life was and is the fact that it's always there. You know, the classical Zen master question, what is always there? And now I know what is always there. Before that, I thought about it. There was something I could think about it, but I didn't have I didn't have access to it. Now I have access to it, and this is what makes headlessness totally different from any other approach. Anytime I need it, or I want it, or I encounter it, it's there. I can't even avoid it. Once I think of it, it's there. It's what actually underlines my daily life, and this is what, if you remember what I told you about my actual problem I had for the past 25 years. In a long time I was dependent, and it really changed in the fact that in this way I can always access who I really am. So it just like the search is finished. I'm home. I'm home. So there's nothing missing. I am, as I said at the beginning, I am now whole. It's like I was only half before, and I was looking for this half. In my case, I was simply looking for it in drugs. Imagine that. But whatever. I think I dropped all that need because I know now what I was looking for, and it's here now, right now.
You've nothing is missing, Sebastiano, because you found nothing.
And what's amazing about it is it's guruless, right? It's not dependent on anything out there. It's dependent on what's back here. And isn't that what every single world religion has told us to do? To look within, right? And it's just as simple as pointing.
Yes. Carol, were you going to say something? I thought you were going to say something.
Yeah. Yes, Richard. I was interested in several things that Ben and Sebastian are saying, because they're newish to seers. But Ben said, I understood what Catherine was saying, because of course there's no hierarchy of experience here. Ben, having seen it and understood it, now has access to the whole of it. And those of us who've been seeing it for 40 years don't have more than him. All we have is the longer period of living with it. But Sebastiano said it already underpins his daily life. So he has that we had from the beginning and have.
But you know, I will say this.
Yeah.
Yes, Carol, yes. Fantastic. Had you finished, Carol?
Yes, thank you, Richard. Yeah.
Okay. Ben, did you want to say something?
I was just going to say it's wonderful to listen to those who have been singing for a long time. There's a great joy and pleasure that comes from it. Can't tell you why that is, but it's a great pleasure.
Yes. Yes. How wonderful to be able to share together from this one space our different experiences. Any other thoughts anyone like to share?
So many thoughts. What's happening around us in France now? People are really shocked by what happened, but at the same time, it's an opportunity then for people like me, like all of us, to try and share this. And this, I've been talking to people, several people yesterday and today, and trying to show this and say, what's happening is out there, and it's very sad, and at the same time very positive, because it has triggered a positive answer around the world, and maybe it's awakened consciousnesses, at least human consciousness, about what is going wrong in our world. And of course, it's difficult to go from the human point of view, what's going wrong in the world, which is possible to see, and the spiritual point of view. That's when we dream of everyone seeing that we are one. For the time being, it's a dream. It's possible, maybe one day, but even Douglas said the golden age will never happen. There will always be positive and negative. But anyway, we are all one, and that's extraordinary, I think. It's such a joy. It's a joy to see when sometimes, very often I am all on my own here, but I never feel lonely. You all now have your faces, but for example, Richard and Bill and Josie and Carol, I've known them for a long time, and so many people, seeing people I have known, they are all here. It's extraordinary. It's like how shall I say, it's a fete. You know what is the word? A long time I haven't spoken English with lots of people. What is the word for fete? Celebration.
Celebration.
Yes, all the time, because all the time Richard, I can see Richard. I always know what he's looking out of. He's the same as what I am looking out of. Nothing. Therefore, we are absolutely one. So I have found this is a way of sharing it. That people, sometimes I tell people, all you have to do is look at what is looking at you.
Yes.
And then they react. That's what I want to say.
Thank you, Catherine. Thank you. This situation of seeing that we're face to no face, we don't confront each other. And the brilliant thing about the video hangout, where you see your own appearance out there in the crowd.
Yes. I was just thinking, Richard, from what people have just been saying, that there are so many favorable things one can say about headlessness. And it just struck me that three of them are, well, firstly, it is so simple. All you have to do is look. All you have to do is see and rest in it. And that's such a remarkable thing in a complex world. Another thing is that it is incredibly natural, because all you're seeing into is yourself. And the third thing is it's accessible. And this, to me, is a real wonder. Anytime, anywhere. And in fact, when you're up against it, then it is especially valuable. But it is accessible. And of course, those three things go together: the simplicity, the naturalness, and the accessibility. And I just have such gratitude for this fact of being able to anytime, anywhere, rest in this sea, which is my own self, and which is then just completely open to everything and awake to what's happening. That's it.
Thank you.
Yeah. Can I just add something that occurred to me, that before seeing and headlessness, I was not truly listening to the other person in a relationship. Not truly listening. There was stuff going on. You know, what am I going to say next? What is my reaction to that? And so on. And when you're completely gone here in favour of the other person, all that you are taking in is what they're saying. It happened to me today with an old lady, and there was nothing else going on except taking in what she was saying. And that's a very different experience to everyday, you know, how it was before. Does that make sense?
Yes,
Definitely.
Yes.
And I just want to add that having these hangouts and having a community of people who are doing the seeing together, it's been very helpful for me, because sometimes the experiments are so simple. You maybe if you're new to it, you might just forget to do it, but just having a community like this and seeing together, I think it all. Whenever I join a hangout, I'm at the end of the hangout, I'm like, because it has reinforced something in me.
Yes. Thank you. Any thoughts, Jose?
Yes, a lot of thoughts, but unfortunately in French. So, as you know, we had a hard time in Paris last 3 days, and I felt a lot of emotion, sadness, angry, despair sometimes. But as Catherine said, the big space here is really the remedy to this emotion, because I could discover the tranquility here at center. And yesterday night we had a little workshop with friends, and with a friend who is Muslim, and he came yesterday. And during the workshop we share that we are all one. We are all one. I'm Charlie, of course, but I'm everybody. I am all one. When you see your true face, when you see your true nature, you see the true nature of everybody, of every creature, and that's the ground for love. That's the ground for loving, and we need this teaching today, really.
Maybe we should just explain what has happened. I mean, not everybody has heard, but there was some big attacks in central Paris 2 days ago. Some very celebrated journalists were killed, and some other people too. So people in Paris are very shocked and upset, naturally, by that, and wondering what to do.
Yeah.
So this is the context that Catherine was talking about and that Jose is referring
to. Of course,
yeah.
Yes.
But we are all one, and this is really good news. I mean, we need this teaching more and more.
And that it's not just a nice idea, it's just fact, it's just true, isn't it?
That's right. Yes. We can check it now. When I see here, I found Bill, I found you, and we are one.
Yes. Beautiful.
It's very. Sorry.
And what's more is I realized that because I am human, I am all of you, but I am all human beings. So really, I am them. I am the journalists who were killed. but I am also the young man who did it, who did them. And I think it's so sad because long before meeting Douglas, I lived in Paris in a suburb with lots of immigrants of this kind of young man. And when I saw the photograph on the screen on television of one of the two brothers, young photographs of him when he was a young boy, I could recognize young boys that I was passing by where I was living, and they were friends. They came to me to have some food with my children, and I think it's so sad because the same ones I met in those days, but that they may have become like that, full of hate and ready to kill. And it's a whole human saga.
Yeah.
There's because of ignorance, because we ignore who we are, and then people constantly, we start again, the human beings start the same scenario again. Some get the power, some oppress the others, then the others rebel, then they get their way of reacting, then they become the oppressors, and it goes on and on and on like this. And if only we can help, the only way we can help is by sharing tea. That's true. It's the only remedy. And I remember Douglas sometimes when along the 20 years I was with him, there were sad events. People committed horrible crimes, and every time he said, I suffer for the people who suffered from, who were the victims, but I also suffer for the criminal.
Yeah.
Because if he has come to this, it's because he's gone through so much suffering.
Yeah.
To do something like that. And, well, it's a very deep experience, I find. You feel you are all mankind, the good and the ones.
Yes.
And what happens always has a terrible bad effect and always a good one then. It's always a two-side coin.
Yes.
So that's what I would say.
Yes. Thank you, Catherine. Thank you.
I wonder if I might just follow on from what was said there about the events in Paris. I was moved to see on the television groups of people who were standing, I think, outside Notre Dame, and they were holding up like this. They were holding up pens and pencils, and I thought, gosh, yes, they're holding up something which represents something that is both peaceful but also free, freedom of speech, freedom to write. But I was also moved by the fact that when you hold up a pencil like this, it leads right back to that essential freedom where all of this flows from. And I think you have to have the two together, don't you? What is expressed out there in terms of this pen and this pencil and what it represents, and where it flows from, where we are both the victims and the perpetrators, as Catherine said, are all one in essence. I was just moved by that.
Yes. I'm reminded of what Douglas did when he was writing the Hidden Gospel, which was interpreting the words of Jesus in terms of seeing or testing the words of Jesus. And there was one stage where he was talking about heaven, and the traditional way of indicating heaven is doing this. You see, you point, heaven is up. And you see, if you point here, obviously you're pointing at the nothing. But if you point like that and look ahead, your finger's pointing off the view. So it's just you're pointing just as clearly to your true nature as this, you know, or this.
Yeah.
Just at the risk of putting a spanner in the works, so you are if you do this, Richard.
I know. Yes.
Yeah. Where's that pointing, Richard?
I like spanners in the works.
But I think that's the hope, isn't it? That these people who don't really understand what they are, they think they're this entity out there that's suffering in the world, and that there are other entities causing their suffering, and there's conflict. That is what the hope could be of more people seeing who they really are.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, I've just been having to deal with somebody going through a nervous breakdown. Now that was interesting from this point of view, that when he was completely determined to verbally attack people around him, and I stood in front of him and I said, disengage, which is what we do when we do this. We disengage. It's what Catherine was talking about. And he couldn't do it. He was so completely determined to express that core of emotion that was active. And I just do think that to be open like this is not just simple. It's also at times incredibly demanding, because there are times when we have tremendous intensity of emotional need going on, and so, you know, in terms of what the world needs and what we can do about it, we were saying this last night. One of the most amazing things about us being here together now and all such moments is that here I am recognizing the one who is present without limit and in everyone. And I'm doing it here as everybody and for everybody. Mm. So the most profound thing that I can do is be still and know that I am God. Somebody said that, didn't they? I don't know who it was.
The Bible.
No, really?
Yes, I think so.
Okay. We don't have to count heads. I think finally, ultimately, how do you deal with the tremendous anguish that everybody feels when these awful moments occur, when people are killed for terrible reasons, and yet to be here, to be empty, is to be the one, and to be awake to that is to give the greatest service one can give to fellow beings who are in fact oneself at the deepest level.
Yes.
So this is not just a little group of friends. It is a little group of friends, but it echoes onto and into the infinite place, which is very encouraging. I find. Yeah. Especially because, like, at times when one is actually powerless. I mean, as I was in the face of a very strong emotional storm, even so, one is doing something that is the best that one can do in that situation, which is not to buy into the storm and to just stay open to the perpetrator, to the victim, to the energy, whatever it is. Make no comment, as somebody else said. It's very powerful, simple but powerful, and sometimes very difficult.
Yes.
I think when people are ready, when they're ready, I think they can really understand what the seeing is. But when they're not, I think it's very difficult, and probably even for us, I think maybe some years back, if someone had said point, and maybe we couldn't connect with it. Life is also important.
Yes.
Well, this is practically the only point where we disagreed, Douglas and I, about I kept saying seeing should be taught at school, because in fact it's a part of our anatomy. We are taught the anatomy and they stop here. There is another that never mentioned the level, which is just as physical and obvious as my arm and my hand. So we should show the children that there is this level, this dimension, and even though they probably will forget about it, if they have seen it once, it may or will come back to them as when they grow up. But they should know that it's here. Then he said, oh, well, after a while he didn't do this. But I think maybe we'll come to that one day.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, I agree with Catherine. But just to go back to what Bill was saying, I think Bill and I particularly agree on this, that it's important not to give the impression that this solves everything. That especially to people that are new to it, it is demanding and challenging to stay with it in circumstances as Bill described, and it doesn't make everything plain sailing in your life. It doesn't smooth the ground forevermore.
No.
It gives you a what's that word? A lodestone, is it? A basis. The opportunity to use this in situations, but it can't and shouldn't make everything, sweetness and light.
Yes. We've been doing the online course on head off stress, and one of the messages that I get from head off stress is that the nothing is not stressed, but the world is stressed. And when you see who you are realistic about both, and you're not expecting awareness of the open space here to even everything out. If you do expect it, you'll be disappointed.
Just for what it's worth, I disagree with Catherine about education. So.
The spanner.
It's very good if you can explain to me why you disagree, because I don't see any problem in showing something that is a fact. We show facts, and this is a fact. Well, but you can ready to listen to your arguments. Your what?
Oh, well, just briefly, Catherine, because the power relationship is not symmetrical, so that one has to take on the fact that one is a propagandist in education. And it seems to me that one of the beauties of seeing is that one invites one's friends to look for themselves on a basis of equality, and that's very, very hard to achieve in an educational setting. That's it. That's what I'm saying.
So we're moving towards the end of this. I just wonder what it's been like for everyone just to hang out together for 45 minutes or so.
Lovely, 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 wonderful.
Yes, yes. Wonderful to see you, Catherine.
Yes, thank you. It was very, very nice. Very powerful.
Same for me, man, to see you. Well, to see all of you. It's really, my heart is absolutely, it's thanks to the internet with all of you. Marvelous. Now, is it all right? No.
And I'll see you on Monday, Catherine.
I was just it's been lovely for us too, and to meet new friends. And Sebastiano, is it the Caribbean you're in? Yes.
Yes, I'm in the Caribbean, the French Caribbean.
We will all be there very soon.
You're welcome. I'm waiting for you. It's been nice to meet Catherine for the first time live. Thank you very much for coming. And everybody else, people I know already, the ones that I didn't know before. And I like these settings. I'll be back. So please keep it up.
Yes. Any other final thoughts before we all disappear into the great void? Okay. Well, just marvelous to be together, and yes.
Thank you, Richard, to organize all this.
Yeah.
Marvelous.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
All right. Well, lots of love, and see you all soon.
Yeah.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye.
Yes.
Bye.
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 Bye.